All right, guys, we're here at the National Senior Welding Competition, and I'm joined with Travis Field. He is a very skilled individual in the welding community, and he's going to share his story with you guys today. So, Travis, tell us a little bit about yourself from the beginning, how you got into welding, where you're from, your whole story.
Okay. Do I look at the camera or
just look at me?
Okay. So basically, I started after high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
2006 was the year, and there was a welder that lived just up the way. His name was Andy Nipiak. He came over. My parents are good friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Okay, well, I'm going to just indenture sign you up for apprenticeship in welding.
Okay.
So you have something to fall back on." So I went as his helper, and then I started first year at NAIT because in Alberta, Canada, you have to do apprenticeship.
Okay.
So I did first year at NAIT, and then I was his welder helper for a little bit, and then I ended up going to like a structural fabrication shop in Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta.
Okay.
So I was with them, and I did my second year at NAIT again, and then my third year back to back. So I went to second year at NAIT, third year at Lakeland College in Vermilion. I met a friend of mine who's with the Boilermakers and everything, and he was a TIG guy. So I ended up leaving that one company, and as a third year, I worked at a pipe fabrication shop. But when I was getting my journeyman ticket in welding, he says, well, you know, like the best welders, they weld TIG welding and everything. So I want to be one of those best welders. Mm-hmm. So I ended up I went to the union hall that he was at, and they said, well, you're not a member, but I didn't know anything about membership or nothing.
Okay.
That was very naive, very green.
Right.
So I ended up finding a place called GRB College of Welding, and the owner is Jerry Bellumer. Mm-hmm. He was in welding since 1963. So I started taking his B pressure course, and then I got to know Jerry really well. So I have a really good relationship with Jerry. Mm-hmm. And so I'd start taking I'd get my German ticket in 2008, my B pressure ticket in 2009, and then I'd come back in May of 2009, May, I'd take the carbon stainless course, and then I'd come back and take an Inconel course, and then come back and take like a pipeline course, and I'd start getting to know Jerry more.
Okay.
I'd come back taking more courses, and then I'd come get the titanium course when I was 23 years old, and then it just kind of went from there.
Okay. So up in Canada, that's where your roots are from.
Yeah.
That's where you learned a lot about welding and just a lot of different processes.
Oh, very much.
So did you mainly work in Canada, or did you travel all around?
Oh, no. It was predominantly working in Alberta. So mostly in Alberta, Canada, because there's a lot of oil field everything. There's like Fort McMurray, Fort Saskatchewan, there's like Nisku, there's like Medicine Hat, there's like all different places, all like Conklin, all in Alberta. Okay. A little bit into British Columbia, but you're not really supposed to. Uh-huh. And there was some titanium job in Saskatchewan, and that was just kind of predominantly in Alberta. So it's not really like, so in Alberta County, you do need your red seal in order to work in other provinces, which I have my red seal, the journeyman and the red seal, so I can work in different provinces. But they have like a BCP 100 or whatever. So if I want to work in British Columbia, I need a certain certification, need to pay for that. If I want to work in this province over here, I need that. So it's a little bit different than the States.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then so you learned how to weld up there. You started traveling all around Alberta welding. Yeah. And then eventually you moved down to Houston.
Well, the way that worked is so I was a rig welder, a subcontractor rig welder. So even though I got into welding in 2006, I always because I had Andy Nipiak and I had another welder named Ross Lusk, who are very, very they've been welding since the 1970s. Like 76, Andy Nipiak got his pressure ticket. Ross Lusk probably got it in 74, 76, 78, within one of those years. So I saw guys that were really, really talented, really highly skilled, very professional. And if you do something wrong, and then they'll be like on you, So like it's like it's almost like a tough love kind of thing. So it's like when I was working as an employee, I used to think I was not good enough to be a rig welder because I'd see those guys, because those guys are very professional. Professional is probably the best way. Very professional. They're not amateur professional. Very, very serious. So I never used to think that I was good enough to be a rig welder, so I always stayed as an employee. And then I'd work at a company called like Leadcore. I'd go out Fort McMurray in like 2011 or so, and then I'd work at a company called JV Drivers, where I'd met Mike Ho. Mike Ho taught me some TIG welding, looking through the gap technique, a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I'd work for Leadcore a little bit more, and then I'd go back to JV Drivers in 2012, and then that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to rig up, because I wanted to I wanted to expand. Like I had my Inconel ticket, I had my stainless ticket, but I in my mind I felt like I was getting held back, and I thought, well, the only opportunity I'll have if I want to go and weld any metal I want, I got to go on my own. So I bought a truck, and then I just started applying. So okay, I got all these welding certifications. I'm just going to go, and then I would go probably about 2013. Yeah, it was 2013. 2012, 2013, somewhere around that time. So I went and took Jerry's course at GRB College of Welding for titanium, and then I had that knowledge that was given to me from titanium that I had applied to all the other metals. And it was actually the titanium course and getting that knowledge from that course that actually elevated my career, and that actually is actually the titanium that actually like took me places.
You got certifications in titanium, and that helped propel your career because you learned a lot about welding titanium that a lot of different metals they didn't offer that kind of thought process when you were welding them.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because like titanium, you learn about like the cleaning of the metal and oxide removal, and then like the way the oxide has oxygen in it, and like purge quality and the importance of purge quality, and like dew point. So you learn all this kind of stuff that you could apply all this other knowledge to all these other metals, especially like aluminum.
Right.
Apply this knowledge to aluminum because you start climbing up the ladders of exhaust and alloys. Like you could start out with like Alberta. Most guys will have like carbon, chrome, stainless, and they kind of pinnacle at that. But it'll be like carbon, chrome, stainless, duplex, super duplex, nickel alloys like Monel, Inconel, Incolloy, Hastelloy, and then copper, nickel, aluminum, titanium, zirconium. And so you start climbing up the ladders, but there's less and less people at the very top.
Right.
But at the very top, it's like more knowledge-based welding. But a lot of welders, they don't really invest into themselves because it costs a lot of money.
Right.
But at the same time, if you have like a titanium job, there's not a lot of titanium. So there's really, people look at it as there's no real point in learning how to do that stuff and practicing and spending all this money to do that because there's no work for it.
Okay.
So... But me, because I was very interested in welding and interested in learning everything, so I was the guy that did all those things, and all of a sudden I find myself in a position where it's like nobody really knows how to do that except myself.
Right.
And now these weird doors are opening. And one of the weird doors that opened for me is WeldTube was looking at my YouTube video that I had on titanium that I did I did this one video in 2016. And then they were talking about it. It was Hamar, who was with WeldTube, and he was talking about bringing me out, and he was talking about looking at this video, and we were discussing it. And then when I went to FabTech in November 2018, then I met Hamar, Alan, Robert, the videographer. So I met them, and they said, "Hey, Travis, we got an idea. How about would you be interested if we flown you out to Houston, Texas? December 2018, you can do a video on titanium, video on aluminum." And then so all of a sudden, like I'm now flown out to Texas. All of a sudden that pretty much like changed the whole trajectory of my life here.
Gotcha.
Because I was suddenly in like, I was in Texas, and then my friend had his daughter's wedding, so suddenly I go from Texas to Mexico, and then I meet this woman in Mexico, and so I'm meeting her in Austria, and then when I'm in Austria, when I get back to Houston, Texas, I reach out. I'm on Instagram. And, hey, where should I travel next? Suddenly, my friend Wally, he's like, hey, come to Greece and Ireland. So okay, so I go to Greece and Ireland, and now I'm back to WeldTube at South Coast Welding Academy there in 2019 now, and I'm like a guest judge, and then I meet Bob Moffat there, and I meet a bunch of other things, and then now I'm doing FabTech in Chicago, and then it just more and more opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is like around 2019, and you're
yeah.
still living in Canada, but you're visiting a lot
in
down
the States.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's like in Canada, there's not really too many opportunities for very unique experiences. But when you come to the United States, it's just like every state has like something going on. They have this, like, they love welding, and this state here has this welding school that was going to have this competition, this competition here, and there's just like there's underwater welding you can go do, and there's all these other stuff you can go do in FabTech and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're in Houston,
Yeah.
and you're with Legion Piping, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
because what would happen there is that I would have started with Legion in 2019, and originally, so I didn't know what Legion was at the time. I was actually with another company, and I did a weld procedure on Monel for another company, and I was on Facebook there when I had Facebook, and I posted that here's a Monel weld and everything. And then Eli, one of our lead welders from Legion, said, "Travis, you got to come because I worked with him at another job. He said, "How's you got to come to Legion?" And I had no idea anything about what Legion was about. So I didn't want to work out of town anymore. So I decided, okay, I'm going to check out Legion, see what that's all about. And when I went there, originally I thought I was just going to work for a little bit, by hand, because I was always rig. And I thought, okay, well, I want to go on vacation. I'm just going to work by hand a little bit. And then my thought process was, okay, I'll just quit and then go on vacation and find a rig job. And then when I went to Legion, I found out, I can run my rig, and these guys are doing like every kind of metal that I could ever possibly want and do. And this is where I want to be, because everything here is what I want.
That's awesome.
And then so I just stayed with Legion, and then I just get along with everybody. And then in 2019 and 2020, we were talking about like we're going to set up the shop in Houston. We're going to do a shop in Houston, and you're going to be coming along, and everybody's going to be coming along, and we're going to set this up, and Travis will need you for this thing. You're going to be running the whole welding program. You're going to be training the guys, teach the guys, and all this kind of stuff. And then the world kind of shut down for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after that, 2022, 2023, we set up the shop in Houston, and then now I'm here because I got the visa to come
Right.
here. Yeah.
So if someone is in high school or looking to get into welding and they want to be in your position one day, what advice would you give them?
Find people that can show you how to do different metals, and be around those kind of people that will teach you those different things. But trying to think of the best way to put it, is you don't want to restrict yourself to like a certain lifestyle and just kind of fall into a lifestyle of maintenance. You want to just have any kind of opportunity you want. But I think probably the best advice is just to ask people for stuff, because like a lot of people have a lot of resources up at the top, and they have a lot of opportunities, and the people at the very top they look for who can I give these opportunities and resources to, but nobody's asking for these things.
Right.
So if you want something, you just got to literally ask for it. And so there's a welder, for example, Ronnie, that we hired. And when he came for the job test, he said, "Travis, I'm not interested in the money. I just want to learn. I've been watching you, and I just want to learn all the exotics and alloys." So I just went and talked to Andrew, our general manager. Say, "Hey, we got to hire Ronnie because he's interested. He's not interested in the money. He's interested in learning." So we hired him. Now I'm teaching him titanium. I'm teaching him pipelining. I'm teaching him everything.
Wow.
So it just comes down to you just got to ask.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. What's the biggest lesson you ever learned?
Probably the biggest lesson I ever learned was, first of all, don't rely just on, don't live to work, basically. Go get your passport, start experiencing different things in your life, and start talking to different people, because there's a wealth of different people from different countries, different cultures that you'll get along with, and when you talk to them, they create other opportunities that you can go do very unique things that. Whereas a lot of people, it's kind of like the high school mentality, where you see a person from high school, they're doing really good, and then you see them many years later, and it's they've lost their hair, they're putting on weight, they look miserable and unhappy, they're stuck, and it's a lot of people live a life of maintenance, and I was kind of doing that before I started with Legion.
Okay.
So I was surrounded by all this old welding equipment. I bought a 40x60 steel building shop, which would have been $100,000. I paid $50 for this building. I was putting another $50, $100 for, erecting this thing. And then, so I was literally, if you think about it, I'm literally making it where I'm stuck there, where I can't leave. I'm stuck. Yeah. And if my life didn't change, I would probably be welding in my garage, where I never would have left the country. Would have never had these
stuck
opportunities.
There.
Yeah. So you're living a life where you're stuck. But once I said yes to certain opportunities, suddenly my life went from there's nothing to look forward to oh Jesus, I have no idea where I could be next week, because I could be in Kentucky, I could be here, I could be there. Right. So then it's just massive amount of opportunities. Yeah. Yeah. And
I agree with you there. I think that's huge. Yeah. Is planning ahead and not putting yourself in certain situations that allows you to be stuck somewhere. Also, you can set something up for yourself, but also be available to, again, what you're saying, other opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, and then the other thing too, aside from creating, I'm really good at networking, thinking about other people, because I can I can say okay, we need Peter Zula here, and we need heavy hitters here. Because I can see interaction created between them, and I can stuff like that. But then the other thing too is that there's also like a financial thing that a lot of welders. So I worked with a lot of welders that they could be on a shutdown, and then somehow they're like, I need to find work, and it's just very weird because it's like you're just on a 30-day shutdown. But the smartest thing, the best financial advice I can give out is that you have if you're a subcontractor rig welder, you have your personal account, you have your business account, you have a personal account, personal checking account, you have a personal checking account, personal savings account, business personal account, business checking account, or checking savings, sorry. All the money that you get paid goes to your checking account. What you do is you take a huge percentage of that and move it to your savings account. You do pay yourself. If you sell any of your equipment, you could sell it as a shareholder repayment, and then so you could, which you'll owe yourself money. But any money they get in your personal account, your personal account, your personal checking, you move to your personal savings account, and you can get an investment advisor. And then you take the money out of your savings account and you put it into an investment account, and then you mentally forget about it. So you constantly like take money out and then put it in investment
investing.
account. Yeah, and just forget about it. And then you tell yourself that I don't have that money anymore. And then what I used to do when I was in Alberta is I'd say like leave like $1,000 or $2,000 in a checking account, move everything over to the savings account, and then now all I think about is that it's almost like a scarcity almost, where maybe for some people it might not work, but you just think, okay, you forget about all the amount that's in your savings account, which is moved over to investment account. You're only thinking about, okay, I have a very minimal amount here that I'm not going to buy tools because it's a very minimal amount. So psychologically, it tells yourself I don't have a lot, even though you do.
Correct.
It's just in savings.
Well, it's just that's what we try to tell our students here at school. It's like, listen, you can make a lot of money in welding, you can set your life up, but if you don't invest to where you can take time off and go visit the world or do other things, you're going to be stuck in a tin building. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be investing and trying other things and setting yourself up for the future.
Two other things too. The first one is stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble because if you get charged, say if you get a DUI or if you get charged with assault or any kind of thing, you get a criminal record, you cannot leave the country. Even if you try to gain a pardon, you cannot leave the country, so your opportunities are gone.
Right.
And I see that for a lot of welders, their opportunities are gone because they got in trouble. And the second thing too, because you never know what opportunities. Like there's a welder in Alberta. I said, hey, you got to come to I think it was like Fab Tech, or I was doing something in Houston. I was doing something. I said, you got to come with me. So I wanted him involved too. He says, I can't get out of the country. So it's okay.
No way.
Yeah, so that's sad for him. But the other thing too is that you could get working holiday visas in different countries. So you can get a working holiday visa in Australia, or you could reach out to the Down Under Center in Australia, and you can, I think it's like New Zealand is where they're located, or Australia, or whatever, and it's on a point count system where you can apply for your own work visa to work in Australia, and it's on a point count system. They'll give you a green card, your permanent residency, so you can like live and work in Australia.
Okay.
Or other countries, you can apply for a working holiday visa in all these different countries. You can work as a welder anywhere really in the world you want.
Right.
So.
And is that one of your goals?
I was doing that while I was waiting to see what would happen with the visa for the United States, because the people told me, certain people with a higher education than a welder said that like you'll never get to the United States because you're a welder. I will because I'm an accountant, but you won't. So they put a lot of doubt in me.
Okay.
And then I made it to the United States, but then when I was at the shop there, I was speaking with our operations manager, and I said, how'd you get across? Like, did you have to do the same kind of thing that I had to do? And he says, no, I'm a senior mechanical engineer. So he's like, yeah, like if I get a job opportunity in the States or whatever country, I can just walk across the border. And then I realized immediately that like welders don't have the education that like a senior mechanical engineer, like you're kind of limited because of lack of education. You don't have the opportunities that like a surgeon or doctor or like someone with an actual respectable education has. Your education, you don't even have an education in the eyes of like immigration. So that's like always invest heavily into your education.
Right. Use welding to learn more and build yourself. And to get further in that regard. Gotcha. Again, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also that like button as well. And if you want to stay up to date on our notifications, go ahead and click the bell button
because we upload videos every week that are very helpful for welders in the welding industry.